So that's a great story. It's amazing. You know, I've God, how long have I known you? And like I've never really heard the
Yeah, I
details.
guess
It's
it's been a
wonderful.
few years
Great
now,
stuff.
right? At least
Great
3
stuff.
years.
Well
Yeah.
done. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the other part that I didn't say a whole lot about was the process of sort of selling a business, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a whole nother
Yeah.
animal, because that
Yeah.
that I wish I would have had some
You want to
lessons
talk
on
about that a
as
few
well.
minutes? We could always splice it in. Or
It's up to you. Sure, I could talk a little bit about that.
do you have time? Like a-
Yeah. So with that clock.
So I'll ask you the question,
4 o'clock. Yeah.
and then we'll
Yeah.
dive in. So Rennie, the process of selling your business. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that, because I know that's a big hurdle, and a lot of people are either scared of it or they don't think they could do it, as you said earlier in your case. So tell us more about that.
Okay, well, to sell a business, I think you need to, do a little bit of research first and find out, number one, what type of value your business has, what type of things are used to value a business. And that was the first step that I took. I actually sought out some business brokers that I mentioned before, and these business brokers actually were able to tell me the types of things that I could use to value my business. And in my case, it was my EBITDA, which is my earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. Okay,
Yes.
and that number is similar to your profit. And most of the larger businesses out there use a multiple of EBITDA to determine your value. So, excuse me, in my case, my business was worth 3 to 5 times EBITDA. And that was what the assessment that these brokers had given me. But that was extremely important to understand what the value of my business was. Because at the time, I realized that I was functioning with the EBITDA that I had. I was functioning as if I was a $20 million company when I was only a $5 million company. And that was something that was very interesting. And to understand that, you then know what your value is. So there are many companies that come in and want to offer you a lot less, thinking that you might not understand the value. And I think that was a great lesson for me to learn. But like I said, I did do some reading to try to find out a little bit more about valuing a company. So I had a valuation done by these brokers, and that was the beginning. Once the valuation was done, depending on your specialty, in my field, they have these confidential bulletins that they send out to let sort of others in the industry know about what you're doing. Little did I know, but there's a whole sea of things happening on the business side of the business, mergers, acquisitions, sales. There are many big fish floating in the ocean looking for little fish. Usually the middle market, which is, from my understanding of the middle market, is companies that have between $2 and $10 million of revenue. You're sort of small potatoes compared to the big companies like the Fortune 500 companies. And there are certain brokers that focus on the middle market. And what many people want to do is they want to take a small company, a middle market company, and basically big fish will come in, swallow it up, and try to pull them up to over 10 million in sales, and then you become part of this bigger market, which is exactly what we're trying to do with my company. And once you sort of made it over that 10 million mark, now you're in a different stratosphere, and you're floating with different fish. And that was something I learned about, and that was amazing to understand the dynamics of all of the fish that are floating in the sea. And I think in just about any business, you could actually sell your business as long as you have a decent profit margin, and you can find people who can value your business and help get the word out. Okay, and I was able to get that done. The process of the sale was extremely difficult. In that I decided to go with a private equity firm, and the private equity firm usually is looking out for their best interest. And I learned some lessons along the way, and probably would have done some things differently.
Like what?
Well, I may have actually tried to grow my business to a larger size. Certainly, in negotiating, I think that there were so many hundreds of concepts that were thrown at me that I probably should have studied a little bit more and learned a little bit more. I did have an excellent attorney that represented me, but ultimately I probably would have negotiated a different contract with the company, as far as the non-compete goes and salary and other things. And looking at my responsibilities, my decision-making power, which right now I'm a minority board member, which basically, just wipes out the decision-making power I have in the company. So there are a lot of things on that side that I might have done a little bit differently. But, nonetheless, I'm happy, and I was compensated well for the business that I had started. So I'm not going to complain about that. But at the same time, hindsight is 20/20, and if I had to do it again, I probably think that there could have been a little more value.
So a little bit of maybe what I would call being starry-eyed. So here you are, you're thinking, I can't even sell this company, and now you realize, oh my God, I can't sell it, and now you realize it's being valued as a $20 million company instead of a $5 or $6 million company.
That's right.
And then you're thinking, well, here's a big number.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And you're focused just on that number.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many other things that you have to think about too, because the company that I'm doing or did my deal with and my partners, they basically sold me on sort of what they call the second bite of the apple, which is, hey, we pay you the first time, but watch us grow your company, and then there's a second bite of the apple, which comes later, and that could be 3-4 times what this is. You know, so that listening to that and believing that, you know, so far the growth that I've seen, I've wondered some days whether we're going to actually be able to do what they said. And they have so many systems set up so that they're going to prevail. There's something called a liquidation preference that I didn't know about, which means that if the company is sold for, let's say, for $20 million, the first $8 million goes to them before anything is split between us, because there are all these different provisions, and it's not uncommon in private equity deals, but these were all of the things that I didn't really understand, and I had to make quick decisions as I was moving, you know. And now that I've seen how that works, and I've seen how different people have been able to come in and dilute my equity, you know, and there'll be several others, I'm sure, that will come in and dilute me even more. That has a big impact on how things are done, and you know, I don't have as much of a say as to how things go either.
It's whether they do that or not.
But nonetheless, I mean, I'm still happy I did it. I probably wouldn't. I probably would do it again. Maybe I would just take my time, and maybe I would sort of think about, you know, how and who I work with a little bit more next time. But I think overall, I'm pretty happy with the deal that was made. But it was a very stressful process to go through.
Sleepless nights.
Yeah, negotiating a big deal like that. Extremely difficult.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Rennie. That is great,
right.
great stuff.
Thank you.
GQ's gonna call, I think, when they see this this clip here, because that's perfect. Well done.
All right.
Jay, you be able to work with that?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
you.
Well, I hope